Thank you very much, Ajay. Thank you for including me in your IC. And it's always a pleasure to be in your IC. So, this video that we have here, and this is one of spherophakia, which Ajay wanted me to share with you, and how it was then and how it is now. What are the changes in the technique of spherophakia is what we will dwell upon. So, what microspherophakia was actually a decade back and how it has changed is important, because with the change has become more and more important that we actually take up these changes. And this microspherophakia, and this was nearly 10 years ago, how we would do. And I'll stop in these difficult procedures where we had to do this capsular rhexis. And look at this balloon of a spherophakic lens, which hardly can be punctured. And look at the whole lens shifting onto one side while I'm trying to puncture it with an MVR knife. And and look how important. Now I was quite unsuccessful there, and so now I'm puncturing it with actually a double-handed technique in which I'm trying to support the anterior capsule, and then it is getting punctured with the 26 gauge needle. So at last a puncture is made with the 26 gauge needle, and then a counter tension has to be given. And this part of the whole technique is the time taking technique. It nearly took me 10 to 15 minutes to gradually complete it and come to an end. This part of the procedure is, of course, not so difficult, not quite simple. But here, one or two practical aspects. Should we use a capsular hook or should we use an iris hook? So the iris hooks are smaller, and this microspherophakic bag is also a small bag. Therefore, the capsular hook in all its integrity and all its finesse is quite a large one and can actually destabilize the microspherophakic bag. So iris hook, but gently can be used and can gently hold that whole bag in place. So then we put in the intraocular lens, and then by and by, as you can see, we are putting in the two Ameth segments. So the Ameth segments are again very important, and if you look into this part, you will see that the Ameth segments are actually, look at this, and you can see the two Ameth segments actually encompassing the whole bag. So you don't need to put a CTR, and a CTR, even if it has to be put, it has to be a very small one. Otherwise, it will actually rupture the whole bag itself if it is a 9mm or 10mm diameter CTR. The next part, of course, is the more important part, and these microspherophakic lenses have deficient zonules. So you have to anchor them and you have to have them in place, optimally done. And once that is done, then you have the intraocular lenses in place, the microspherophakic bag fine and in place. So if it is in place and the patient actually enjoys very good vision, this is our whole team which looked after this child, and this is her sister who came nearly 6 years later. And after this, what we had for her is something different. At that point of time, we had the femtosecond laser, and with the femtosecond laser, we went on to do a femtosecond laser capsular rhexis. Now, the capsular rhexis is the important part, and you can see it's a microspherophakic bag, and we are changing the parameters because look at that whole globus, it's nearly a sphere. So we need to compute it manually and to see that it is done. What was important is the 1.5 second capsulotomy, that is important. But now look what we had. So after doing off the capsulotomy, we do a Hoffman's pocket, and with the Hoffman's pocket, it's a much more elegant way of dealing with it. And then we enter in. And now if you can look at this part, so at that point of time, I was not too good of doing a capsulorhexis, and the settings had to be changed. And you can see it's nearly a postage stamp. So here was the question, will I get a full rhexis or not? Well, I went ahead and we tried it out. And we did get a rhexis out of it. The spherophakic bag was undaunted. And this rhexis we could make in just about 2 to 3 minutes. So it's quite important, this in such particular instances, to have the femtosecond laser in place, because what you want to do is to retain this microspherophakic bag. The next part is very simple. The iris hooks hold it in place, and the microspherophakic bag is very nicely there in place. But every time you definitely need to put in the hooks to stabilize it. And then, of course, the intraocular lens, a single piece intraocular lens that you would like to put. So the optic itself is 6.5 millimeters. And what happens to the haptics? Now, this particular lens, I don't have any financial interest, but these Alcon single piece lenses are phenomenal, because the optics right on crowd on the optic. The haptics are very pliable, and the haptics in place, they very nicely sit in the spherophakic bag. So putting in the AMET segments are important, and the AMET segments will retain the spherophakic bag in place for the years and years to come. They have to be put in gently, and again, that optimal tie needs to be done. So what you saw from the previous to the one that we are showing you now is quite different. So what we have is the microspherophakic bag nicely in place, and you can see that the bag is a small one, and thereby in this mid-dilated pupil, both the AMET segments parts are in nearly the pupil. This is actually mid-dilated. So with this mid-dilated bag, did this patient have difficulty of glare and halos? Not really. And the pupil actually comes down, and even if there is a little bit of glare and halo, the patient accepts it, because the patient is usually an amblyopic patient. So this was a little family story of two sisters who got done their microspherophakia in two different ways. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.
Thank you, Partho. That was an amazing way of doing this.